and thank you for joining me on another weekly lesson. And today I have so much to share with you today. I can't even stand it. So hopefully I can slow my roll and deliver this in a way that is super concrete and gives you some practical, powerful principles that are going to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. Because how many of you know that you can't keep doing what you've always done if you want different results? True or true? And some of this really started for me is the impetus of change in my own life was that I recently started the 75-day hard challenge, which my sister-in-law, Courtney Erdman, has really inspired me to start. So I started this challenge, and admittedly, I'm only 4 days in, but I am addicted. and let me also just say this. This is me starting a challenge after legitimately going off the rails for 30 days. I mean, this last month has been off the rails, and we'll save that for another story or podcast. But so to start this, right, I always say that the hardest day is the day that you start, and the second hardest day is the day that you want to quit. And so it was actually harder for me to start this than anything, because just like you, right, I had all the excuses. I travel full time. I have 4 kids. I already work out a good amount. I already eat healthy. I drink a lot of the water. Like, I don't need one more thing on my plate. I've got a business. I'm trying to grow my business. I'm doing all of these new things. So really, I don't need one more thing, right? Like, stack up all of our reasons and excuses and justifications. And so finally, I just decided to do it, and I am hooked. But here's why I'm hooked. I'm hooked because already I can tell that it's making me better. Even in the midst of the awkward and super inconvenienced and gruesome rainy days and 4 kids and funky schedules, I can already tell that this is gonna make me stronger. This is gonna make me better. This is gonna help me be who I've always wanted to be. And I think that's why I wanted to talk with you today about the hard stuff. Because I believe that all of us want to be the best version of us, and I believe we have a lot of these blocks and barriers that keep us from that. And so we're going to talk about that today. And I think it's because if we're not careful, we don't talk about these things because we've created an identity around ourselves on what we do when it does get hard, right? Like, what do you do when you want to quit? What do you do when you're uncomfortable? What do you do when things don't go as planned? I mean, if you're like, I don't know, all of humanity, we all have probably very similar answers. We quit, we stop, we don't move forward, we give an excuse or a reason, we start and then we stop, or we don't stop at all. And so that in and of itself can create this like shame, blame, guilt spiral and get us absolutely nowhere. But the reality why I even draw those questions out is because I think it's a starting point. Most of us are quitting. And we're not leaning into the uncomfortable. And in order to dream, in order to dare to dream, we're gonna have to look at this. We have to look at what we do with the hard. We have to look at what we do with the uncomfortable, because in order to manifest and follow your dreams, it is hard and it is uncomfortable. And so I wanna make you a better version of you, and to know what to do when the hard moments come, when the hard days come, when the hard seasons of life come. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is just this pressure and what you do when you want to give up, what you do when you want to quit. And yet there's some of you who maybe you've already quit and you're like, oh shoot, should I even listen to this? Like, I've already given up, I've already quit. But there's still this voice on the inside of you that's like, I want to try again. Like, I need to try again. There's something in me, I have to do this again. This is for you today. If you believe that where you are and where you want to be means you're going to have to kind of wade the waters of those hard conversations, those challenges, those obstacles, those things that you've never done today, and you know that you just need a different outlet or perspective or answer on how to do that, this is for you today. I'm going to give you some powerful principles around this, because I believe that in order to have anything we want, we have to change our input of what we believe to be true. right? Which is why I say you have to rethink everything in order to have anything. So we're going to do that today, okay? So this concept that I'm going to teach you today started for me about 4 years ago when my husband and I first started traveling in an RV full time. We sold everything. We hit the road with our 3 children under the age of 5 because they had to come with us. And I remember at that time we had our 3rd child and Nixon was almost 1, and I was really wanting to build muscle tone. I've always been a skinnier girl. I'm not here to complain about that, but I've never been fit, just skinny. And so I was determined to be fit. Only side note, I wasn't actually asking for help. I wasn't getting outside perspective, and I was actually just doing more of what I'd always done. And if you just want like the cheat sheet right here and now, this is it. It's worth the price of admission. Doing more isn't going to get you different results. Like doing more of what you've always done won't get you somewhere else. It will just make you crazy and burnt out and tired. And so that's where I was sitting. So I was about 3 months into this new workout and I was exhausted. I was depleted and I had no energy for my life, for my kids, and I just wasn't getting the results that I was wanting. And so I came into the RV one day, my kids are playing outside and Trav's doing something. And so I just start venting. And he's been married to me long enough to know the difference between venting and wanting his opinion. You know what I mean? And so I'm just going on and on and on about how it doesn't work and how all the experts are wrong and how woe is me and it's just my body type and if only this and if only that. And I am just like word vomiting. And so finally you can tell that he's probably getting sick of me word vomiting. And so he doesn't ask if I want advice or input, which is our number 1 rule, but he doesn't ask that. He doesn't even look up. He just simply says, are you lifting till failure? And I was like, what did you just say to me? Almost like, are you insulting me? And he said, are you lifting till failure? Am I lifting till what? Am I lifting till failure? No, do people do that? I mean, I remember, do people actually do that? We lift till failure? That sounds awful. That sounds really uncomfortable. For how long am I supposed to be lifting until failure? Dear God, no, I'm not lifting till failure. And then I walked out of the RV and I knew he was right. I knew he was right. And no, if I was honest, I wasn't lifting till failure. I was lifting till I was running till exhaustion, right? Like I was lifting till I was uncomfortable. I was lifting till I didn't like it. But was I lifting till failure? No, I was not doing that. And that's where I want to start today, is introduce this concept to you. And I talk about this in my book, Dream I Dare You, of this tool of manifesting your dreams, which is knowing how to lift till failure. And I think that paints such a great example for us, because if we want different results in any area of our life, if you want a more passionate, connected marriage, if you want a better body or vital energy, if you want to make more money or have greater impact, if you want to build a business, if you want to be a great parent, the general tendencies are, if you just keep doing what you've always done, will plateau. And so even though it worked for a while in our life, how many of us know what you did in dating doesn't really fly 15 years in with 4 kids? You know what I'm saying? Or like how you used to work out in your 20s doesn't really work in your 40s. Doesn't mean it was wrong. It just means it isn't going to work now. Okay? And so this paints such a great picture for us, because what it implies is that you're going to have to do something different. And for most of us, doing something different is hard. It's challenging. It gets us outside of our comfort zone. It gets us outside of comfortability. But what you want, your dreams, everything that's waiting for you, anything that's waiting for you, is on the other side of that. And so what I need you to understand today are 3 powerful principles that are going to help you cross this great divide and lift till failure. Okay? So principle number 1, it's all hard. I know, some of you are like, for real, that's really what you're here to tell me, is that it's all hard. It is. it is all hard. And I think that the path of least resistance, Tony Robbins says this, the path of least resistance will never make you proud. It'll make you busy, it'll make you bored, it'll make you feel good for a minute, but it's not gonna make you proud. And so when we realize that and can just almost kind of lower the playing field of like, it's all gonna be hard, being fit is hard, being fat is hard, being single is hard, being married is hard, having no money is hard, having a lot of money is hard. Like at some level, any of it is hard. Like there's pros and cons to all of it. And so the power in understanding this is not just picking hard for the sake of picking hard. Pick the hard that you want most. Pick the hard that's gonna get you to where you wanna be. Pick the hard that's going to manifest your dreams, because yes, you can keep avoiding it, but that's hard. How many of you know avoiding your dreams and putting it off and the fear and the worry and the doubt and the resignation that sets in when you do that is equally as hard as what comes up out of you when you start to chase them, and those insecurities and that trepidation and that boldness and that willingness to say yes, like that's equally as hard. And so what I'm going to ask for you today is to start to identify the hard that's going to make you better, the hard that's going to make you bigger, the hard that's going to make you the best version of you, the hard that's going to manifest your dreams come true, not your worst nightmare. What is the hard that is actually going to make you better? Right? Because when you pick that hard, it's going to get you to where you want to be as opposed to keeping you where you've always been. Okay? That's the hard that we want. The second principle, your dreams require strength. So once you pick the hard that you want, once you pick the dream, the success in your business, the manifestation of writing that book, more passion and connection in your relationships, like taking your life to the next level, you have to realize that that dream is going to require strength. Why? Because the path and the journey along the way of you getting there is helping you become stronger every step of the way, every push-up, every opportunity to live till failure is making you stronger, because when you get there, that dream is going to need to know that you have the strength to obtain it. It's one thing to maintain the pursuit of your dream, right? That's kind of like the making $1 million, right? They say making $1 million is one thing, keeping $1 million is another thing. That's why statistically speaking, once people win the lottery or make millions of dollars in the NFL, they lose it a couple years later. Why? Because they weren't able to change the inside what was changing on the outside. So the path of your dreams is going to be a little bit challenging and hard, and that pressure is going to be available to you, not because God's weird and psycho and there to break you. He's actually there to make you. He's actually there strengthening you with every step you take, with every opportunity to go left and you keep going right, with every opportunity that you could quit but you keep leaning in. It's making you a stronger person, so when you get the dream, you maintain it. You maintain it. That you know how to keep your marriage strong, that you know how to keep the business strong, that you know what to do with the impact of the book, that you know what to do with the impact of your ministry. That's just another hard, friends. That in and of itself. And so every single thing along the way is actually designed to make you stronger. If you got there and you had been doing no weight training along the way, you just show up at the race, right? Let's say you and I decide to go on a race. I have a girlfriend, Sarah, who's getting ready to run a 60K. I didn't know that those existed, by the way. And she tells me the other day that a 60K is 30 miles. And I was like, you're gonna run for 30 miles? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, how long is that? She's like, I don't know, it'll probably be like 8.5 hours. And I was like, 8 to 8.5 hours of your day, you're just running. How many of you know that if Sarah showed up to just run that race, she can just show up to run that race. Is she gonna win? Probably not. Why? Because she wasn't preparing herself. She wasn't training along the way. She wasn't doing anything today that's going to prepare her for tomorrow. And so what does that mean? It means we need to start preparing today for the dream. We need to start preparing the day for the race. Why? Because once we get to the race, we want to win. We want to win. We want to cross the finish line. And what that's going to require is all of the things along the way. All of the things along the way. But the problem with this is that we live in this fast-paced, fast food world that's convinced us that convenience wins, right? Like I can have anything I want with a push of a button. I can have it delivered to me within a matter of an hour. I mean, even last night I ordered this thing for Malachi on Amazon, and I said, well, it's gonna be here in about 3 days. And he goes, 3 days? Why 3 days? I was like, bro, do you know that hundreds of years ago that they, number one, didn't even have product like this, but number two, they had to like walk across the country to get it? And I know I'm being a little bit of a dramatic mom, but 3 days, he says? Yeah, Prime's a little delayed, heaven forbid. Your dreams and God are not about convenience. They're about character. They're about character. You want to get there fast. God wants you to get there and last. You want to be the first. God wants you to be the last one standing. You know what I'm saying? Like, great, you can get there first, but will you still be there the next day? Right? Even if you read in the book of Romans, I love this one. It says, even in times of trouble, it's Romans 5, verse 3. Even in times of trouble, we have a joyful confidence knowing that our pressures will develop in us patient endurance. And patient endurance will refine our character. And proven character leads us back to hope. What is that saying? It basically is saying that the pressure is a privilege. It's actually there to create endurance, and endurance refines your character, and character produces the result that you've been looking for all along. I'm going to say that again. The pressure you're feeling today, that spot that you want to quit or not start, the obstacle that you're feeling is actually there presented to help you build some endurance, to help you then create better character. And then that character is actually going to help you manifest the thing that you want most. By not training, by not lifting till failure, by not getting in the game, guess what happens? You don't manifest the dream. That sounds awful. All right, which then leads us to our last principle, principle number 3. Joy is found in the right kind of hard. Even the Bible says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. The cross was not fun. It was not the hard that most of us would ever choose. And yet why was for the joy set before him? Because he knew. He knew why he was doing it, and he was doing it for something so much bigger than himself. Same, right? Like, happiness is cheap. So you can be happier if you have a bigger house, or you make more money, or you do all the things. And yeah, sure, you can be happy, but what happens, given enough time, in my experience, I had the house, I had the cars, I had all the things, the money in the bank, what society told me I needed. I wasn't any more joyful. And in fact, I was still crawling into bed asking, is there something more? Joy is not cheap. Joy is earned through endurance, character, and manifestation. Happiness is cheap. It can be bought, which means it can be sold, not joy. This is what I want you to understand. Then this is how you're free. Freedom is not I can have what I want when I want. Freedom is the ability to go, no, I know who I am, and I know what's good for me, and that's what I'm going to say yes to. Everything else I'm going to say no to. Even if it's convenient, it's more convenient, or I let my ego likes it, or my flesh likes it. No, freedom is the ability to choose what's best for you in any given situation, and then running that thing out. This is the power behind this principle, is that joy is found in the right kind of hard. If you're not joyful, maybe you're not in the right hard. I'll say that again. If you're not joyful right now, maybe you're not in the right kind of hard. Pick a different hard. The best thing you could do is quit the wrong things. And then the next best thing to do is to not start the wrong things. The best thing I've done in this life most often, and sometimes the hardest, is quit the wrong things, and then stop picking those things when I get the next chance. Joy is found in the right kind of hard. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is what sets your soul on fire, and this is what allows you to rinse and repeat and get up the next day and do it again, and get up the next day and do it again, because you've decided, my mind, 75 hard, let me tell you, there's days I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm already in. I'm already committed. I'm already there. I've already manifested. I'm already at the finish line. So you can politely uninvite your brain from this topic and how you feel about it from the situation, and you can just get down and you can do one more push-up. Why? Because it's going to create within you endurance, which is going to shape your character, which is going to make you a better person. And if we're honest, that's what you want. That's when your soul is going to sing. So here's what I'm gonna say. Today, some of you are watching this going, what? And I get it. And I'm gonna ask two things. I'm gonna ask you to do one of two things, if not both of them. If this is you today and you've been avoiding the right kind of hard and you've been choosing the wrong kind of hard, and you are ready to take your life to the next level, you are ready to dream, you are ready to grow, you are ready to manifest the best part of you, I'm gonna ask you, number one, to opt into our text message community. Why? Because every single week, I give you these mindset principles that could change everything. Rethink everything to get anything. And I'm gonna give you every single Monday and every single Thursday. I'm not gonna sell you on a bunch of stuff. It is a text message community designed to give you the mindset that you're going to need to manifest your dreams. Because if you master your mind, you master your life. So I want you to opt in now by texting DREAM NOW, all capital letters, to 22999. Easy, free, you're in. The second thing I'm gonna ask you to do, I'm gonna ask you to click on the link below for a Dare to Dream session with me. This is an opportunity only for people who are like, I'm in. Like I'm no longer convinced, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know what, but I am ready to dream. And I get why you keep saying, Julia, dream, I dare you. Well, this is a Dare to Dream session where you and I are gonna unpack the biggest things and the biggest hurdles that are keeping you from where you wanna be. And we're gonna better clarify and verify where you do wanna be. And then we're gonna fill the gap. And I'm gonna walk you through that process, and you're gonna walk away with a clear next step so you can go from where you are to where you wanna be. Do those two things today, and I promise you, you will be one step closer to where you want to be. And of course, don't forget, please subscribe, click the like button, and pass this along to one other person who needs this encouraging message. And join me as we pick the right kind of heart.